Next item on the agenda is other items for board action.
I make a motion to amend the agenda, to include a temporary PK through 6 mask mandate that would be revisited at every other board meeting.
Okay, Mrs. Shorter, just to clarify, you'd like to add item number 2.
Item number 2 as a separate
Separate.
item from number 1 to the agenda.
And you would like it to read how?
Yes. A pre-K through 6 temporary mask mandate to be implemented immediately and revisited every 2 weeks by the board for its continuance.
And when you say every 2 weeks, are you wanting it reviewed at
our
every
specific
board meeting?
At our public meeting,
Every board meeting and work session?
with the exception of the work session at the public meeting.
Okay, so that
So
would
the
be
general-
once a month,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes, because we have 2 board meetings a month, so yes.
Well, we have one board meeting a month and one work session.
The public board meeting, not the work
Public
session.
board meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Mrs. Lane, did you get that down?
I think so.
Okay, so there's been a motion on the floor to add item number 2 to the agenda, would be a pre-K to, sorry, did you say 12?
To 6.
To 6, okay, pre-K to 6, mask mandate for students. You're not including staff in this, correct?
Not including staff
Okay.
in it.
Pre-K to 6, mask mandate for students, and then to be then evaluated at each board meeting.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, I will second to have a vote on amending the agenda. Okay, any questions or comments on voting on amending the agenda?
A question. So you want the kindergarten through 6 kids only?
Pre-K through 6.
Yes, pre-K to 6.
Kids
K
only.
through 6. Kids only.
Kids only.
Right,
yeah.
because our staff mostly is vaccinated. They wear their mask anyway, generally, and because of communication issues with the kids.
Okay.
So,
They need to be able to see.
great, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from the board?
And then we're voting separately on this issue, not with one.
It would be a separate,
Yeah.
right, separate item
Item number
for
2.
board
That's
action.
item 2.
So we're just voting on whether to vote on it.
Correct. Right now, it's
Item
just,
agenda.
there's been a first and a
To
second
amend
whether
the
to amend the agenda. So we're voting on whether to amend the agenda to put this item on the agenda. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Mrs. Lane, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Shorter,
Yes.
Mr. Birding,
No.
Mr. Begley,
No.
Mrs. Gundram,
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
No.
Okay, motion fails. Please maintain order, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so we do have other items for board action. We have number 1, Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Birding, members of the board, I have the following item for your consideration this evening under letter D, other items for board action. Number 1, recommend the approval of the following board policies, letters A through C. That concludes the items I have for your consideration this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. This time, I'll entertain a motion to accept those recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Gundram and Mr. Begley, any questions or comments from the board? Okay, Mrs. Lane, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Gundram,
Yes.
Mr. Begley,
Yes.
Mr. Birding,
Yes,
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Shorter.
Yes.
motion passes.